Here is the full true story of King Charles I of Spain, who was also Holy Roman Emperor Charles III of the House of Habsburg. His life is not a simple story of a single king, but a colossal drama of global empire, relentless warfare, personal duty, and ultimate abdication. To understand him is to understand the world in the first half of the 16th century, the heir to half the known world, early life, and the unexpected inheritance. Charles was born on February 24, 1500 in Ghent, a city in the county of Flanders, modern-day Belgium. His parents were Philip the Handsome, Duke of Burgundy and son of Maximilian I, Holy Roman Emperor, House of Habsburg; Joanna the Mad, daughter of Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabella I of Castile, the Catholic monarchs of Spain. He was raised in the Low Countries, the Netherlands, by his aunt, Margaret of Austria, and tutored by the brilliant William of Croy. His native tongue was French, and he was culturally a Burgundian nobleman. He knew little of Spain, which he was destined to rule. His inheritance came in a rapid, staggering sequence. 1506, his father Philip dies. Charles inherits the Burgundian Netherlands, 1516. His grandfather, Ferdinand of Aragon, dies. His mother, Joanna, was the rightful queen of Castile and Aragon, but due to her mental instability, which earned her the historical epithet Joanna the Mad, Charles was proclaimed co-monarch with her as King of Spain, Carlos the Far. He was the first to rule a united Spain. 1519, his other grandfather, Maximilian I, dies. Charles inherits the Habsburg lands in Austria, Germany, and beyond. He is also elected Holy Roman Emperor, a title he had to finance heavily to outbid rivals like Francis I of France. He became Charles V. Suddenly, at the age of 19, this young man ruled over an empire on which the sun never set, encompassing Spain and its burgeoning American empire. Cortés conquered the Aztecs for Charles in 1521, Pizarro the Incas in 1533. The Netherlands, Flanders, and Burgundy, the Kingdom of Naples and Sicily in southern Italy, the Habsburg lands in Austria, Bohemia, and Hungary. The title of Holy Roman Emperor, giving him theoretical overlordship of the German states. His motto, plus ultra, further beyond, perfectly captured the boundless nature of his domains and ambitions. The challenges of a global emperor. Charles's reign was defined by four monumental, simultaneous struggles that drained his treasury and his spirit. The Protestant Reformation, the internal German conflict. In 1517, Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses to the church door in Wittenberg. The Reformation spread like wildfire across the German states of the empire. As a devout Catholic, Charles saw it as his sacred duty to defend the unity of Christendom. He confronted Luther at the Diet of Worms, 1521, declaring him an outlaw. However, he was constantly distracted by wars with France and the Ottomans. He tried compromise, Diet of Augsburg, 1530, and military force, the Schmalkaldic Wars. But he could never crush the movement. The 1555 Peace of Augsburg, negotiated by his brother Ferdinand, established the principle of cuius regio, ius religio, whose realm, their religion, effectively shattering his dream of a unified Catholic empire. The Valois-Habsburg rivalry, the war with France. The King of France, Francis III, was almost permanently at war with Charles. France was encircled by Habsburg territories, Spain to the south, the Netherlands to the north, and the empire to the east. This led to a series of devastating Italian wars. Key events included Charles's decisive victory at the Battle of Pavia, 1525, where he captured Francis I himself. The horrific sack of Rome, 1527, by Charles's mutinous troops. Constant warfare that bankrupted both kingdoms but ultimately ended with Habsburg dominance in Italy. The Ottoman threat, the Eastern Front. Under Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, the Ottoman Empire was expanding deep into Europe. The Ottomans crushed a Hungarian army at Mohacs, 1526, forcing Charles's brother Ferdinand to take up the defense of Central Europe. The Ottomans laid siege to Vienna, 1529, but failed to capture it. Charles led a massive and ultimately unsuccessful naval campaign against Tunis, 1535, and a disastrous one against Algiers, 1541. Managing the Spanish Empire. When Charles first arrived in Spain, he was seen as a foreigner who appointed Flemish advisors and used Spanish taxes to fund his European wars. This sparked the revolt of the Comuneros, 1520-1522, a serious popular and noble uprising that he brutally suppressed. After this, he learned to respect Spanish customs, learned the language, and integrated Spain into the core of his power. It was Spanish silver and tercios, the formidable Spanish infantry, that became the backbone of his military might. The man and the ruler. Charles was not a charismatic figure in the mold of his rivals Francis I Suleiman. He was known for his profound sense of duty, a relentless, grinding work ethic, and a reserved, pragmatic demeanor. His famous Habsburg jaw, an extreme underbite, a result of generations of royal inbreeding, made speaking and eating difficult. He was a workaholic who managed his vast empire through a relentless stream of letters and directives, trying to personally oversee everything from theological debates to military logistics. The weight of his responsibilities was immense and constant. The abdication, a world-weary emperor, exhausted by 35 years of incessant warfare, religious strife, and the gout that crippled him, Charles decided to do what no monarch of his stature had done. He voluntarily gave up his power. In a long, moving, and tearful ceremony in the Great Hall of the Palace of Coudenberg in Brussels in October 1555, the frail 55-year-old emperor, leaning on the shoulder of William of Orange, abdicated from his titles. He first surrendered his sovereignty over the Netherlands. In 1556, he abdicated the Spanish throne, giving Spain its overseas empire and the Italian possessions to his only surviving son, Philip II. The title of Holy Roman Emperor in the Austrian lands went to his brother, Ferdinand I. He then retired to a small house adjacent to the monastery of Yuste in Extremadura, Spain. He was accompanied by a small retinue and spent his final 2 years in relative solitude, gardening, tinkering with clocks, and following the affairs of his former empire through correspondence. He died on September 21, 1558, from malaria. Charles V's reign was a turning point in world history. Globalization. He was the first truly global emperor, presiding over the first transoceanic empire that connected Europe and the Americas. Habsburg dominance. He established the Spanish Habsburgs as the premier power in Europe for the next century. Religious schism. His failure to suppress the Reformation permanently divided Western Christianity. The burden of power. His life became the ultimate example of the immense personal cost of wielding supreme power. His abdication stands as a unique and poignant moment, the act of a man who had simply borne more than any one person could carry. He was not just a king of Spain, but the ruler of a complex, multinational conglomerate of territories. And his story is the epic of holding it all together through sheer force of will.